Вы мне говорите, а я буду... I'm welcome you again. It's Media Center Ukraine Odessa and our new briefing with Halyna Lugova, head of the Kherson City Military Administration. Uh, Ms. Halyna is with us on connection, so is it well with the connection? Yes, I hear you. Could you please tell about the operative situation in Kherson region, what is known and what's possible to say now openly? I would like to wish a peaceful day for all of us. Nowadays it's very tense situation in Kherson city because we have no internet connection. As I understand, the occupiers did everything possible to let the city stay without internet. As I'm always in connection with some people and they are not with me in staying because they have no connection. So I do not. I know the information that was on the yesterday, not about today. As I know from the citizens, in the evening it was clearly seen that the occupiers' techniques were taken away. They taken the trucks and heavy vehicles and actually stolen cars of our citizens also were taken away. So they were living on their way to Antoniv Bridge, and they also were leaving Snigurivka. It's the big amounts of people, of techniques that were each 100 meters from each other. What about the fuel? We do not have the fuel these days in the city. We have some villages where all the fuel and gas supply think they are broken now, and the situation in Bilazirga. Also, I want to say that in the city of Kherson, not the the electricity supply is not everywhere possible to have. According to my information, they also had some problem with the heating on Ostrov and electricity supply problem. They are also present there. Also, I know that there was a problem with the technical water, so that it was impossible to start the heating supply system because it was not possible to use the water for drinking. Only technical water is needed for the heating supply system. So we asked for some proposals if it's possible to do from Dnipro, using the water from Dnipro, but Russians do not let our specialists to use this way, so that there is no connection, no heating in the place of Ostrov. The same situation in the city. Some part of the city had electricity and water and heating supply systems are also damaged and are not working everywhere. If we talk about the medicines, we do not have enough medicines, and I also want to highlight and to emphasize that if we talk about the people who had diabetes or some problem with the heart system or people with a cancer, they do not have enough medicine that they need to have a normal living conditions with their health problems. And the biggest problem that is difficult to help and we have no chance to help them, so that I'm very thankful to all the volunteers who always help our citizens, as they always supply people with the medicine, but now this opportunity is forbidden. If we talk about the products, Kherson has several shops with the products, but all the opportunity to buy some food, some products, medicines, everything started to be selling on the markets, like from bread to sugar to cookies, all the way of buying and selling things, they are happening on the markets, not on the shops. So it's briefly to say about the situation here. I also had to say that To tell the truth, people who stay in Kherson, they have a great fear and panic because they do not know what will be with them in the future, as we have some kind of raids from the occupier side. They start to make some pressure to people. They made them leave their houses, leave their things. Uh, and also some Viber groups that were used in Viber application. They said they started to write, sorry, we should to leave the city because Russians pressed us very much, and they started to watch our phones and check that. That's why we need to leave this group, and we'll connect you in only in very emergency situation. And actually it's happened this way when people lose the electricity supply, when it's happened in Borislav and some electricity supply stations. It also had some impact to Kherson city. Then people just wrote to me two words: no internet, no electricity, no heating. It was the information that I received from the people in Kherson, and the same situation how I received the information about the yesterday. So the amount of trucks, the amount of people, the amount of heavy equipment, amount of stolen cars, and the way they go. So we do not have the opportunity to talk freely with them. It's very rare to happen. Thank you, Miss Galina. I would like to ask journalists to ask some questions to Galina if you have. So please come to microphone and ask your questions to Galina. Miss Galina, have a good day. My name is Irina Zachuk, and I have a question. In first days of November, in the Facebook page of the Kherson Oblast Art Museum, there was information that all the funds started to take the pictures to the way of Kherson. I mean, the work of art they were taken out of Kherson, and also there was written that some very important masterpiece of art and represent the cultural heritage of Ukraine. They were clearly seen in the Museum of Tavrida in Simferopol. So, according to this date, to the 10th of November, do you have any kind of information about the Museum of Arts? The amount of the masterpiece of art that were taken away? Maybe you know some information about it, and maybe you have some additional information about this situation. Thank you. I had to say that the museum had more than 15,000 of masterpiece of art. It was collected during the 45 years, and the different kind of art and paintings and sculptures and monuments is very important moment for us because our museum is very famous all around the world, and the situation that we have now, I can add nothing to this situation that you know. Actually, the only thing I would say, people who looked all the things, they they made some photos, and it was clearly seen that there were many trucks and buses that were full of masterpieces of art, and it was happened not in very good conditions. So, they just gathered all together, put it in a trucks, in a buses, and started. And I think there was a great amount of the masterpiece of arts of Ayvazovsky and other painters, and I think it's almost nothing there. I also have one more question, again about museum. According to your information, maybe you have the information about the digitalization process of this masterpiece of art. Is it possible to count of situation of masterpiece of art, of costs that will lose according to such situation? Is it possible? Would it be possible to come back to all this masterpiece of art that was stolen? Would it be possible to take it back, or maybe to pay some money for this masterpiece of art that was stolen? Yes, I think it should be discussed on the highest level, and we should take back everything that was stolen. Everything that were taken away should get back home. And if you talk about the sum of money, I think all the things are costless, but each masterpiece of art, as it were original, um, they have its own price, and I think after the war we can deal with it and made a list of the things that were taken away and the prices that all this art costed. So please come to the microphone and make the question. Max Novozura, Journal Music США. Yesterday, the Russian TV published the speech about Shoigu and Surovikin about how Russia is going to put their troops from right coast to the left coast. Many of my colleagues from the Western media are started to discuss when will we see the Russian flag on Kherson. But my question is another one. So when we'll understand what Russia really is going to do about, and when we really could see the occupation of Kherson. Thank you. I understand your question. I think we will never understand when Russia will make the steps and some say words to be responsible with it, because this nation is not used to responsible for the questions and the steps they make. I think we will not make some announcements about it, to make quick announce and to run quickly, as we say, to run faster than the train. I think everything needs its time, and when the armed forces of Ukraine will enter Kherson, we will see it, and our flag will be rising on our administrative buildings, and everywhere where it's only possible, each house will have the Ukrainian flag. But up to today, not I would like not to speed up with the result, that it should be happen just very quickly, because we will see when it happen, because we know how the occupiers behave. I mean, when they say one thing and do absolutely another thing, so that I don't want to be so sure that everything will be so quickly and easily, because in this way, um, because we also have the panic, the threat, and a very panic mood to the people that are here, people could say. So it's a bit difficult thing to discuss. The same as occupier were dressed in civilians and seem to be as civilians, but local people understand who came here and who occupiers. It's possible to see clearly on their faces. So we also see the same kind of trick, as we do not have checkpoints, and we see that they are leaving, but we also see that they are still staying in the city. So it's very important to understand that we should be very criticizing to all the information that we receive from that side, and I think that we will see the result sooner, but not so quick. But we are absolutely sure that the Ukrainian flag will be rising in Kherson. So next question. I have a question. When the occupation started, occupiers started to take Hrivnia out of Kherson and to launch their rebels. Then, then the citizens of Kherson started to refuse rebels, and even the representatives of the occupied powers, they said that it's possible to have some criminal cases about such kind of actions from citizens. So what's the situation with the money now in the city? I could say that no one here needs rebels. I have a one experience, even when we had a connection, it was about 7 days ago. One of the people who I know, one my friend called me, and we started to talk about the situation there, and we discussed about the rebels. And for example, she is selling meat on the central market, and she is working with the rebels, and she said, uh, someone, so occupiers in a civilian clothes, uh, came to me and asked whether you will take rebels, and I just sent them that they show that they should go according to the movement of the Russian warship. And I also could say that one family that medical family that living the Kherson through the Crimea, and in one of the market they pay by they buy by the money with the with rebels, and they got the answer that you should take this money back to Kherson and pay there, because this money has no idea of being used. So I could say that the passport that were given to our citizens, Russian passports, they're not the same as the citizens of Russian Federation have. So we have different passport, different rubles, not the same as in Russia. So it was just planned to have rape our citizens, just to make a trick to let them have a power, and just seems just to buy the citizens of Kherson. But the citizens of Kherson prove that we are a nation, we are Ukrainians, and it's impossible to break us. So it's impossible to buy us for any rebels. And another question. Pani Halyna, could you tell about the amount of people who are staying in Kherson and how many children are still there? And you also talked about that it's difficult to have enough medicines, to have enough products, and what about international humanitarian organization? Did they have the opportunity to let the occupied territories to put there everything that it was possible, or it was forbidden? What can you say about it? I know that the Red Cross worked in Kherson, but it was possible to receive some helps only according to some categories. Volunteers put this help to the city too. I know it for sure, and all the help that we received, even from the government, was received through the volunteers, because it was impossible to get occupied information that the government helps to the people of Kherson. So all was done by the volunteers. And if you talk about the help from different organizations, I think that it was also here, but through the volunteers. And if you talk about the green corridor to such kind of organizations, no, it was forbidden. There's no such kind of way, because at that case the part of the humanitarian aid was taken on the checkpoints by Russian, and they checked it, and they could took it for, from these humanitarian aid missions, and they took some medicines to themselves. Yes. Another question. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So now we'll have the question and that could be the translation. Російська, е, російська армія сказала, що вони починають виходити. І я б хотів знати, чому українська армія не починає дуже швидко атакувати, якщо ми бачимо, що російська влада та армія заявили, що вони починають виходити. Yes, to tell the truth, I cannot answer about the armed forces of Ukraine because they have their own tactic and they have their own strategy. Я не знаю, як це відбуватиметься. So, I'm not responsible for the armed forces of Ukraine because they have their own tactic and strategy, and I can't say why they do not start to get a feedback and attack very soon. I cannot give the feedback on this question because there is a military secret and people don't know all the information, and I think that now we have such kind of situation when we cannot tell everything what will happen. So it's everything is going on according to the strategy, and you may see how far the information is going on, and it could be uh, damage as a result to our forces. But as a result, I think everything will be as should be. As you may see, that we are not staying on the same position. Next question. So Kherson and Khersonska Oblast are very famous by their partisans. According to your information, how do you think are the occupative administration, are they afraid of the partisans or not? What do you think? I could say that they are not afraid. They had a great fear for them. They even had a fear to go to sleep at night because we had the partisans in Kherson that are working very well, and we look in the internet and in the media that this movement of partisans is very important here, and I know many people who having a great risk of their life, and they continue to show Ukrainian patriotic movement here. Mm, and they are still making some sign that Kherson is Ukraine, and we must understand that we are Ukraine, and Ukraine remembers about us. They are not leaving us, and I'm very proud of such kind of people. But it's true that they are really afraid of them. So I have some kind of example when some woman told me that at the same time for a long time, one elderly woman was selling some greens to people, and Russians came to her and started to ask her a lot of questions about why they're staying here at the same time, all the position. Maybe she was watching for some positions and so on. So they are afraid of everyone, even of elderly people. So that but it's true that Kherson people are very patriotic. So if there is no question, we would like to thanks to Ms. Galina for the time you spent with us. We also hope that we will come back to you soon, and we hope that Kherson will be free soon. Thank you, thank you. We trust in armed forces of Ukraine, and we think that everything will be okay. Thank you. So we are not leaving our work today. In 30 minutes we will have new briefing, so staying with us. Bye.